The tragic case of Danielle Howchin, a community search for justice. Time to solve this case is nearly 30 years. For 3 long, agonizing decades, the tragic disappearance and brutal death of 15-year-old Danielle Howchin has haunted the small, tight-knit community of Belgrade, Montana. It is a story steeped in sorrow and mystery, a relentless nightmare that began on a warm summer day in 1996 and whose echoes still reverberate through every whispered conversation and tearful remembrance. On that fateful day, as Belgrade prepared to celebrate its annual festival, a day that normally filled the town with laughter, music, and the promise of community spirit, Danielle set out for what should have been a simple, innocent walk. With the sun casting a golden glow over the streets and the festival's excitement in the air, nobody could have predicted that her departure would mark the beginning of an unimaginable tragedy. Danielle, known for her bright smile and gentle nature, disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a void that could not be filled. The initial hours were consumed by frantic panic. Family members, desperate for any sign of their beloved daughter, combed the town. Neighbors joined the search, their voices rising in unison as they called out her name, hoping against hope that she might still be found. Yet, as the day wore on, hope began to crumble like brittle autumn leaves underfoot. The joyful festival transformed into a backdrop of despair, a stark contrast to the life that had once been so full of promise. Then, in a moment that would forever shatter the hearts of those who loved her, Danielle's lifeless body was discovered in the icy, unforgiving waters of a nearby river by a family friend. Initially, the tragedy was dismissed as an accidental drowning, a cruel twist of fate in a small town where accidents were an unfortunate part of life. But as the investigation deepened, subtle clues began to emerge, painting a far more sinister picture. There were signs that Danielle's body bore the marks of a struggle, defensive wounds, inexplicable bruises, and evidence of a sexual assault that turned an already heartbreaking situation into a nightmarish tale of violence. Despite these chilling findings, the local investigation at the time was hampered by a combination of limited forensic technology and a lack of decisive action from law enforcement. Important evidence was collected and DNA samples were taken, but without the sophisticated tools available today, the case soon went cold. For years, the unanswered questions festered like open wounds in the heart of Belgrade, a silent cry for justice that never seemed to be answered. The pain experienced by Danielle's family and the community did not fade with time. Every annual anniversary of her disappearance and death brought fresh waves of anguish. Somber gatherings, silent vigils, and emotional pleas became the town's annual rituals, replacing the once joyous elation of the festival. For Danielle's family, her memory was a cherished fragment of a life cruelly stolen, bright moments of laughter, shared stories, and dreams of a future that was never realized. The community, bound by shared grief, carried the heavy burden of her loss while holding on to a collective resolve to honor Danielle's life. This united resilience kept her story alive, even as investigative leads dried up. Community leaders, acts of remembrance, and local advocacy sought to shine a light on the need for more robust resources for solving cold cases. Danielle's image, her warm smile, became a symbol, a call to keep pushing toward a truth that lay buried beneath decades of silence. In a dramatic twist that seemed ripped from the pages of a true crime thriller, 2021 brought with it a breakthrough that reignited the hope of justice. With the arrival of cutting-edge DNA technology and a new sheriff determined to correct past oversights, investigators reclassified the case from an accidental drowning to a deliberate homicide. Modern forensic science, with its heightened sensitivity and precision, was now able to re-examine the evidence that had long been gathering dust in old case files. Forensic experts meticulously reanalyzed every scrap of genetic material, each piece of evidence left at the tragic scene. The persistence of the forensic team led to a stunning revelation. The DNA evidence was matched to a name long whispered in the town's dark murmurs of suspicion, the name of Paul Hutchinson. Paul Hutchinson, a man with a notorious criminal history and a reputation that struck fear into the community, emerged as the prime suspect. For Belgrade and beyond, hearing his name associated with Danielle Howchin's case sent shockwaves of relief and rage. Finally, there was a face behind the monstrous act. But just as quickly as justice seemed within grasp, tragedy struck once more. Before law enforcement could apprehend Hutchinson, he took his own life. With that, he left behind a gnawing legacy of unanswered questions and robbed Danielle's family of a full measure of justice. The identification of Paul Hutchinson was bittersweet vindication for Danielle's family. After nearly 3 decades of torment, they now knew who was responsible for her murder, even if that person would never stand trial. Yet, the frustration of prolonged inaction and squandered opportunities deepened their grief. Questions lingered. Could justice have been served earlier? Could Danielle's family have been spared years of pain? Belgrade's community, though shaken anew by the revelation, had to grapple with its own failings, how a system allowed this tragedy to remain unresolved for so long. The story of Danielle became a powerful lesson in reforming investigative practices and ensuring that other small towns wouldn't suffer similar failures. Today, as Belgrade slowly emerges from the shadow cast by Danielle's unspeakable tragedy, her story stands as a symbol of resilience, reform, and the enduring pursuit of justice. Her life, brutally taken, serves as a rallying cry. For every cold case, for every forgotten victim, Danielle's tale urges authorities, communities, and families not to relent in the search for truth. Her family's unyielding determination transformed grief into action. Public forums, advocacy campaigns, and regional task force collaborations have been established to prevent another family from enduring the same anguish. Belgrade remembers Danielle Howchin not solely as a victim of injustice, but as a beacon of hope for systemic improvement. Her case reiterates the power of vigilance, the advancements of forensic technology, and the strength of unity in seeking the truth. From the murky waters where her body was first discovered to the courtrooms and homes where memories of her still linger, Danielle's story remains a powerful reminder: justice, though delayed, must continually be pursued. Her 30-year journey toward truth underscores the perseverance of families and communities, while also starkly illuminating the depths of loss when justice is denied for too long. Belgrade carries her memory with an unwavering resolve to honor the past, reform the present, and ensure a safer future.